Yeah, Tony, just calling up the chat, see who joins us today. And yeah, I'm missing Mindy today, of course, on her day off. But we've been on a good streak. You mentioned it. Thank you for the kind words about my number there. But Mindy and I, about last 10 days, a pretty good streak. So I hope I can give out some winners here on the show without her guidance.
That's right. It'll be Ramon Scott here on the rundown. Of course, morning steam 6 days a week. But Ramon said, I'm willing to get my plays out there. So we'll put together accommodated Ramon here with a full rundown of the entire card here. So let's go ahead and let's get this one underway. Looking forward to this with Ramon here as we get underway here with the rundown here. Let's go ahead and get the odds here for the sport. We're going to start with NBA and we're going to cover NHL and MLB. So we'll go ahead and get started here with NBA tonight. Hawks and Celtics here. Elimination games. We know for the Hawks, they staved it out there in gamer for Celtics here laying 13. The total sits here at 230.5.
Yeah, Tony. I know we don't have any scores to update, but Leicester City just scored. I'm watching soccer today, but let's get started with the NBA. Yeah, big news here. Look at that line, 13. DeJounte Murray is going to be out for this one, so I think that's why you've seen this move the way it has, right, Tony? This one maybe as low as 10 and a half, now up to 13. I did even see some 13 and a halves as well in this one. So, well, let's give Atlanta a little bit of credit. I mean, I know Boston might be whipping through them and whatnot, but Atlanta's had some spurts, certainly, in the series. Even on the road, they've had, at times been able to keep up with these Celtics. I think the Hawks are a little bit underrated defensively at guard. Now, without Murray, certainly that does affect them there as well. So, going to be relying a little bit more maybe on those front court guys. I mean, there's no answer, right? I would think for Brown and Tatum, even on Atlanta here. But man, that's a lot of points, Tony. And if anything, this total has dropped there 230.5. Though that's funny. The spread seemed to have moved a little bit more on Murray's absence to the Celtics than the total did drop, because mostly we saw it only as high as 231.5. Maybe it's gone down to as low as 229, settling at 230.5. Still seems high. Playoff game still, Tony. Don't want to bore you. I'm going to go under as usual, but mostly this team came in based on that Murray absence, and I would think that's still going to throw a little bit of a monkey wrench into Atlanta's offense. But man, 2 touchdowns. I'll still take the under, Tony, but I think I got that lean to Atlanta.
All right, Ramon here says under here, Hawks, Celtics. All right, let's continue here on the rundown here. Join Ramon Scott. Next up, T-Wolves and Nuggets. This is the one on NBA TV. We see the Nuggets. Yep, this is the one they figured might be the blowout. So they throw it on NBA TV. So Nuggets here laying 10 in this one, total 220.5.
How do they know, Tony? They all look like football spreads in tonight's game. We got every game's double digits, man. I'm going to hang out over in the NHL. I think tonight, if this is going to be the case.
You know, Charles and company are.
Oh, geez, let's give these underdogs a little bit of a chance here. But Denver could close it out here tonight, as Boston could. I didn't really mention that as well, but looks like another possible closeout here. I think the one thing about was Denver at home, and yeah, maybe they're laying the lowest amount of points, and maybe they have the biggest advantage over their opponent out of these three particular games tonight. So if anything, they did hit the steam under. You see it all the way down to 220.5, and I get it. Got a couple of under teams here, and maybe the Nuggets have done such a job on the Timberwolves that maybe Minnesota's scoring chances could be lacking, or their ability to score anyway against Denver. They seem to get into a bit of a frenzy there, though, in Denver. And when things are cooking with Murray and Jokic, they really look spectacular. I love how they run the two-man game with such intricate weaves down the lane, man. I mean, that's the new style. That's the new, well, I would say new now, but when you got the big man that can handle the ball and fit great passes into tight spaces against guys that can cut to the hoop, That's what you like to see from a team. That's what makes Denver so special. And here, man, they look like they can probably even get this money. But I'm going to look to the total here. And yeah, I think the steam maybe has come in on the over, but I look to it more of a case where Denver, if they get up into a frenzy, Minnesota might throw up their hands, man. We see these big time scoring runs that can occur late in the second quarter if a team gets away. Sudden you're looking at that tote and it has a 70 by the home team's name, and you just wonder what's gone wrong. So I'm going to go over in this one, maybe going against my buddies, the Sharps here, Tony, in this one, maybe Denver to roll here tonight and get that total over. Maybe the Wolves can show a little bit of moxie. Edwards has been yeah, maybe Edwards has been hot and cold, but he has had his moments for sure. Nuggets a little too much, but let's go over 220.5.
Ramon says go over Timberwolves and Nuggets in this one. Shout out to the chat room, Darren Laurent and Scotty Foster. We'll get to the NHL in the next segment, so stay tuned for that. We'll have every game covered for you. Let's continue here on the rundown with Ramon. Next up, we've got this one here, game 5 between the Clippers and Suns. Suns up 3-1 this series. As you see, another big line here. Suns laying 12.5, although it's kind of dropped a little bit here from the opener. Total 224.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Clippers bench, certainly. I think they've got one of the best benches in the league. So without their two stars, we've got another near two touchdown favorite here with the Suns. This is going to be a bummer if this goes out this way, but I don't know. I like the way the Clippers have performed a little bit without these guys. It's a real bummer what's going on. And, you don't want to criticize anybody for having, injuries. I mean, there's just nothing you can do about it. But, man, the way it kind of snuck up on Kawhi, just, and some of his history. I mean, I'm not hot and cold ever on Kawhi when he's on the court. I think he's still dynamic. You just wonder when some players, Tony, have less of a tolerance or they're concerned about their future. This is your future. I mean, I don't want to say unless it could be a debilitating situation. Obviously, with him, it is a debilitating situation because he's probably experiencing, deterioration in key joints that's keeping him off the court. But you don't have much in terms of a future after that when you're given big time opportunities. And the Clippers had that opportunity in this series. But again, you have another 3-1 team as a big, big favorite tonight. I like the Clippers' moxie as far as some of these reserves are concerned. And I think that's the way I'm going to end up looking tonight. Yeah, this has been a bit of a dropper to a certain extent. In fact, I have it considerably lower than this, actually. Where is the Clippers production going to come from in a series where I already look to go under, despite the fact that these two teams do tick a little bit over? But I'm going to take the Clippers tonight plus 12.5. Going to have to make do without their two biggest stars, but I don't think the Suns have that killer instinct. They may just end up getting the money on talent alone, but I would imagine that the Clippers and their bench, they have some players that can ball. I definitely like my man Norman Powell, and I think Highland's done a nice job as well, and Zoo. So let's take the Clippers plus 12.5.
All right, Ramon says take the Clippers plus 12.5 here against the Suns. That was Ramon's rundown. Okay, Ramon, before we get to the NHL, let's pull up your records here. Been fantastic here for 2023. 6,000 and 2,008 units of profit here for 2023. That is all documented over at TonySpix.com. So you can go over to Ramon's handicapper page and verify all those numbers there. They're there for you to check out. And of course, Ramon, I know tonight we've got NBA action up there, as well as 3 games from the NHL, which we'll cover as well as a nice MLB card. What do you have going on over at Tony's Picks?
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Real number right now. I'm on the bad beat train from last night a little bit as the number ticked down, but it's something people are starting to follow. So I'm going to talk about it. That's my selling point, I guess, at this point, is that industry-leading number certainly right now, and really my action has been hot in hockey. If anything, it's carried this number, and we're going to do it again tonight with a 3-pack in the National Hockey League for $30. I'm going to be involved in each game, of course. After last night's 3-0 and the current streak that I'm on, why not? I'm checking handicapper leaderboard 2.0. Tony, there you go. You're right on it with me there. You look at 2022, they're on that handicapper leaderboard, Tony, plus 3,100 units in 2022. We opened the multi-capper site in January, so basically 31 units in the calendar year last year. Well, today's April 25th, and I'm already up. If you take a look at handicapper leaderboard 2.0, I'm already up 2,400 units in 2023. 24 units, 55, nearly 55 units on Tony'sPicks.com in NHL hockey over the last 16 months. That'll get it done. That'll probably get you, pretty good vacation and then some. So 3-pack tonight, NHL, if you want to see what the hype is all about without getting that 3-day, 7-day, 30-day. Pick up the NBA Tuesday night premium pass for $30. I know that's going to be a hot seller. I mean, usually as soon as I throw it up there, it starts to fly off the shelves because people look at that handicapper leaderboard. We're fully documented, Tony, here at Tony'sPicks.com. I just put them in like I'm betting, and then they come in graded. And boy, in hockey right now, seems to be grading all-out winners, even with the playoffs. A little bit of different dynamic when you're betting some of these numbers. You don't throw out the regular season, certainly. In fact, if anything, you kind of 2x, well, maybe not 1.5x the regular season to a certain extent. We just saw what these road teams, I smashed with a lot of these West Coast road teams over the last couple of nights. Everyone saw what happened, Tony, in the NHL. 11 road teams before that last game last night. It was 11 straight road winners in the NHL, a Stanley Cup playoff record.
There you go, guys. So get on board with Ramon Scott at Tony'sPicks.com. Promo code TonyT at checkout. You'll save 20% off. The long-term pass will serve you well as well. Let's continue on here on the rundown. Join Ramon Scott.